What's going on YouTube? Jamil here. In this video, we are going to talk about title companies, closing attorneys, escrow companies, and what they do for us in our transactions. Check it out. How's it going, guys? So, title companies, closing attorneys, escrow offices, what do all these mean, right? Why do we need them? How are they involved in our transactions? How can they assist us? How can they blow our deals up? How can they open up relationships and help us expand our business? All of the above can happen when working with a title escrow or a closing attorney. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about how we work with these people, how we identify which ones to do business with, and the things to keep in mind, pay attention to, avoid when you are in those relationships, and also how you can leverage these companies or these people to expand and scale your business. So first things first, title companies, right? Title companies, they are employed by individuals that are conveying property. So if you're in the middle of a transaction, title company, their sole responsibility, their job is to check the title of the property. So they're going to pull the title report of a specific real property, and they're going to look at what are the items on the title report. There could be liens, there could be a mortgage. Who are the owners? Are the people that are on the contract actually the people listed on the title? Are there any encumbrances? Are there any judgments? Are there any deed restrictions? Are there any utility rights of way? The important parts about a real property will actually be registered or recorded on the title. And so a title company's job is to look at that title and see, can this title be conveyed? Are the individuals that have control of this title the ones that are on this contract, and they handle all of the title documents for a deal. Now, in a place like Phoenix, Arizona, the title company is also the escrow company, meaning they are also the third party that is handling how the money will be transferred, how the title will be transferred, all of the insurance that needs to be applied to that transfer. They are the ones that are going to be ensuring that the transaction will actually happen by law and according to the standards and practices of that specific state. So in Phoenix, Arizona, title and escrow are together. Now, place like California, title and escrow are separate. And so there'll be a title company, there'll be an escrow company. And so that offers some confusion sometimes for people, because they're like, well, why do you need both? In certain counties or in certain states, they're actually a completely different organization. And so you need to employ a title company to do the title work and an escrow company to do the paperwork and to make sure that the funds are all there and that the people that are signing are all real and the ones that are on the title. And so that becomes separate jobs. Then you add in closing attorneys, and in places like Georgia, where it's a judicial state, closing attorneys are actually lawyers, and they're the ones doing the work of the title company, of the escrow company, and so they're handling the conveyance of the transaction. A lot to remember, right? A lot to think about. Now, why are they important? Well, in what we do in wholesale, we are actually really just selling the potential of a deal, right? We're selling our contract on a deal. And so the reason why a title company is important is that when we're using instruments like assignments, or when we are using a double escrow to use the funds from our sale to pay for our purchase, the title company are going to be the people that are going to handle all of that detail. Now, the reason why they're important to distinguish and know and to have relationships with them, because not all title companies, not all escrow companies, and not all closing attorneys are the same. A lot of them don't have as much knowledge, experience, or even relationships in investment real estate. And so when we're bringing things like assignments or double escrows, their brains explode. They think, oh my God, I don't know how to handle this. And they automatically go to that one term we all hate: this can't be legal. But a lot of times title companies, escrow officers, or closing attorneys just aren't aware of how these transactions operate. And because they don't understand and because they're not aware, they automatically say, this can't be legal. So as wholesalers, we want to make sure that we're identifying title companies, escrow officers, and closing attorneys that are going to be conducive or help our transaction move forward, right? We don't want our escrow officer talking to a seller and bringing illogical fear or making them feel uneasy about the instruments that we're using in our transaction because they don't understand what the documents mean. I've been in a situation before where I allowed for a seller to choose the title company, and then I assigned that contract to a buyer, and the first thing that happened was the escrow officer called the seller and said, "I think your buyer is trying to do something illegal." Oh my God, you can imagine what happened then. The seller was completely spooked. She thought, I don't want to be involved in something that could send me to jail. I don't want to be involved in a fraudulent transaction. I don't know what's happening. This person, this title company that I've employed to watch out for me, to have my back, to make sure that everything is going the right way, just informed me that I might be involved in an illegal transaction. So that deal didn't end up actually happening, right? Because the seller was totally spooked. They didn't want to do it, and I didn't want to force the issue, and so we unraveled and everything fell apart. So it's really important that you, as the wholesaler, help dictate what title company, what closing attorney, or what escrow company you're going to use in a transaction and make sure that the transaction goes smoothly. So I use a company called Constant Close, ConstantClose.com, for a lot of my transaction coordinating. Now, they have relationships across the United States for title companies and escrow officers and closing attorneys that will allow for our transaction style. So if you're trying to do a double escrow, if you're trying to do an assignment, multiple assignments, if you're trying to use the instruments that we use for investment real estate, and you want to make sure that you're working with a title company that is A, cool, B, won't blow your deal up, and C, knows what the heck they're doing in order to pull this transaction through, you want to get a hold of Constant Close. In fact, my very good friend, Rochelle Jarvis, she's the owner there. Tell her I sent you. She'll hopefully give you some kind of a break on pricing, but they are fantastic. They work with the title companies, they work with the closing attorneys, and they work with the escrow companies to make sure that our transaction will go smoothly. Now, in addition to that, guys, your title company or your escrow officer can do what's called a blind HUD in situations where we're doing an assignment, meaning they'll keep the documents that are pertinent to the seller for the seller, and they'll keep the documents that are pertinent to the buyer for the buyer. And because of privacy laws, they actually have the right not to show both sides of the documents to either party. Meaning our sellers won't see actually how much of an assignment fee we're making. And oftentimes that's good, right? Because sellers, they feel like, oh, well, if you're making a $10,000 assignment fee, why didn't you just give me that extra on my price? But that's how we make money, right? That's what we do. And they don't understand that we have families to feed sometimes, and they always want what's best for them. And so oftentimes it's just better they see the information that's pertinent to them, right? And so Rochelle Jarvis over at Constant Close, she'll be able to help introduce you to the title companies, escrow officers, and closing attorneys that will do things like blind HUDs, that will allow for things like assignments, that will allow for double escrow, so that moving our transactions along will be a lot easier. In addition to that, if you're doing any type of creative deal, whether it be an owner finance, a subject to, a seller carry, the documents and the instruments that we use for those specific types of deals are really intricate and important to get right. So you want to make sure that your title company, your escrow officer, or your closing attorney understands the nuances of how those documents need to be prepared, how they need to be conveyed, and how they need to be transferred so that everything is happening correctly. Again, Rochelle Jarvis at ConstantClose.com, that will be a great resource for you to making sure that you're working with the appropriate people when you are doing some type of creative deal. Now, we talked a little bit earlier about how title companies, escrow officers, and closing attorneys can help you grow your business. How the heck is that possible, right? Well, here's how. A lot of the relationships that I've made have actually come from doors that have been opened to me from my title officer, from my escrow officer, or from a closing attorney. These people are doing so many transactions with real players in your specific market that if you bring business to a title company, an escrow company, or a closing attorney, they will be inclined to help bridge relationships between their clients so that more deals can happen at their office. And so, oftentimes, if you're trying to meet new relationships like new buyers for fix and flips, or maybe buyers for buy and holds, or institutional buyers, or maybe even some potential wholesalers. You're a rehabber and you want to do business with more wholesalers. They can open doors for those relationships for you because they want to do more business with you. So it's really important that you make friends with your title companies, that you make friends with the escrow officer, and you make friends with the closing attorney, because just asking them to open the door for you could truly, truly help you scale your business. Now, beyond that, what's really awesome is I learned early on in the business when I was first getting involved, and I didn't have access to good assignments. I didn't have access to really intricate purchase contracts, and I didn't have the documents that I needed to push my business along further. And I didn't have the money to hire an attorney at the time to complete or construct those documents for me. I found that a great leverage point with a title company was their legal department. So what you can do is you can actually call a title company and have them introduce you to their staff attorney in their legal department, and they can help deliver to you the documents that you'll need to do business. Now, oftentimes title companies have specific documents that they want or they're comfortable using. And so they may not like your assignment, they may not like your purchase contract. And so what you want to do is call a title company, get in touch with their legal department, and have them provide you the documents that they feel comfortable with allowing for the double close or the assignment or whatever creative deal you might be working on. A fantastic way for you to get your hands on really expensive contracts that could cost you thousands of dollars to create for free. For free. Why? Because that title company wants you to use them. And so that attorney that is a staff paid employee for that title company is inclined to give you those documents so that you'll use that title company for them in your business. Now, first, the final thing that I want to remind you is these title companies, a lot of times they don't make money until you close a deal. So it's really important that you just don't go there and ask them for free stuff and then go take your business elsewhere, right? So respect your title company, respect your escrow officer, give them presents at Christmas, check in with them on their birthdays, be nice to them, form real relationships with them. In fact, my relationship was so strong with my title company that I actually bought it. And now I'm the owner of that title company because I love the escrow officer so much, I love the people so much, and I love the business model so much that I thought, hey, here's a cost. Here's a place where my company is actually spending money every month. Why don't we make that a profit center? And so now my title company is doing deals for people all across Phoenix, Arizona that are doing these investment style deals because we are A, knowledgeable about them, and B, it gives me an opportunity to make new relationships. So guys, get out there, do business with your title companies, make friends. Of course, guys, if you got any value out of this video, I ask that if you could subscribe, like, and share. It's really important for me to get the word out to other people about all of the amazing things that you can do in the investment space of real estate. And also leave me a comment because it lets me know who you are. I can respond to you and we can actually be friends. I'll see you in the next one.